Come on. What's that? You probably know what ended up happening because we were worried about.
Oh hey, Colleen. How you doing? Oh, you're wearing the green too. You can almost like stand in for Loretta. Thank you so much for her uncle died, so like of course the video. Look, there's Sheila.
Love you.
You like it? Yeah, you play with you. But that's awesome. And then you've got the cute clicker purse. Oh my god. Your famous, I remember that. You look very nice. Parker, and they're just very oh my god. It's like a horse.
Years ago.
Just for a second. What do you look out? Yeah.
Oh my god, I would have died for her.
God, the little ones are like
You used to have a paper ride, right? Yes, years ago. Oh, she was huge. She looked like a big girl. She terrorized the neighborhood. Everybody thought she was. And she would walk me. I would take her out and she was so hyper. Yep.
Charlotte.
But years ago, Grant brought home a cat when he was still in high school. And I already had a cat, and you know, I didn't need another dog, but he assured me when he moved out that cat would go with him to all the cats on the house. And that cat is so naughty. We've all heard this. That's what I know. Yep. It's finally starting to go along after years and years, but that cat,
Oh, I know.
I have to go around that cat because it goes out and climbs a tree and gets in the nest.
Do you want me to help you get the chair in there so we have a starting point at some point? Or hi,
Yeah, right.
how are you?
I'm an infirmary.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
you it's only going to be like, did you my parents? We didn't Michael. Outtakes. Whatever Bill's ready.
I was a young man, I'd never been kissed. I got thinking over all I'd missed. Got me a girl and I kissed her and then, oh Lord, I kissed her again. Oh, kisses sweet again. Oh, kisses sweet again. Big man, I feel like a natural man.
face me, it'll be good. Come on.
Thank you.
Right up here. And face me at this point, and I'll have you turn to each other. So welcome everyone. We are glad you are here today. We gather as family and friends to celebrate the love of Kristen and Michael as we witness their decision to journey forward in their lives as marriage partners. Now you can probably already tell you can hear better or less good depending on where you're standing. So if you feel a need to move forward so you can hear better, please do so. Family and friends, we are gathered here in the presence of God. Let all who enter the marriage bond know that it is a sacred and joyous promise, a way of life born out of a spiritual depth that is wider and deeper than any of us can imagine. Believing that all of us are interrelated, interdependent, and one in our humanity, the relationship of two people who deeply care for one another provides an opportunity for us all to share in the celebration of their love. We have come together as one family, united by this love, to witness the wedding vows of Michael and Kristen, pledges made sacred by their willingness to share, to give, and be with each other. Love cannot be defined in an easy sentence, but there are characteristics of love which Michael and Kristen are affirming by their presence here today. Let us therefore invoke the blessings of God on this union now to be formed. Please join with me in prayer. Spirit of light, your creative power is seen in the whole universe, in myriad stars and planets in infinite space. And yet we dare to believe that you care for us and you are mindful of the things that we do. In your presence we gather today, confirming a new constellation in human relationship, the marriage of Kristen and Michael. Let your spirit be known among us, that we may do what we do here with our whole hearts and wills, and the commitment of Kristen and Michael make to each other may be a sign of your love on earth. Do you, Michael, desire to enter this holy covenant, to be a loving, supportive, faithful husband, whether in days of success or adversity? If so, say, I do.
I do.
And do you, Kristen, desire to enter this holy covenant, to accept the responsibilities of a wife, to be a loving, supportive, and faithful wife, whether in days of success or hardship? If so, say, I do.
I do.
Let us all remember the path of love is meant to be walked together with all the human family. All love is nurtured and guided by the love of others. Each of us counts on relatives, friends, and neighbors for the caring and concern that replenish our own ability to love. Kristen and Michael marry in the presence this day of all of you. I therefore invite you to express your support of this couple. Do you offer your prayerful blessing and loving support to this marriage? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Kristen and Michael are joined today in the celebration of love by all of you, but also by companions who are an important part of their life together. Parker and Marks, who are present here with us now, and their two cats, Chelsea and Vincent. The blessings of this day appropriately and necessarily include these important companions. And so we now offer a blessing for all the animals entrusted into our care as we remember our calling to take care of the earth, home to all God's creatures. If you have a companion that you would like remembered in this prayer, I invite you to say out loud their names at this time.
Jenny, Amanda.
Lord A.
Ellen and Lucianne. Rex and Petey.
Remembering the animals we love, we are filled with gratitude for the pets, protectors, and animal companions who have blessed our lives. We give thanks for the way they brighten our days and comfort our nights. We give thanks for all the help they provide and the way they at times guard us. Spirit of life, help us to remember that we live and work and love among these animals. Help us to be their friends, to love them and care for them and protect them from harm, to thank them for all the richness they bring into our lives and world, especially today, Spirit of Life. As we offer blessings for Kristen and Michael, we ask also your blessings on these animals who are the companions of our lives. Hear our outpouring of love and gratitude for them and help us translate that into love and gratitude for all your creatures. We pledge to care for them tenderly and faithfully, and to remember that we are not alone on this earth. Amen. A reading now from Paul's letter to the Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 8. If I speak in the tongues of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. I have had the honor of celebrating and officiating at a number of weddings over the years. But today is a first for me. I have never shared in a wedding in a dog park. It is a special honor to be here today with Kristen and Michael and all of you in this beautiful setting under the glorious skies of God's creation, and with the company of Parker and Marks and all the other companions present in this park. The Apostle Paul, whose words we just read, would, I believe, be delighted with this choice of venue. Many folks who have familiarity with the Christian tradition think of Paul as a rather conservative fellow, mostly focused on the life to come, and who spoke strong words about keeping women in a subservient role. This unfortunate representation of Paul is just the opposite of the picture given to us by today's biblical scholars, who argue Paul was anything but a status quo conservative. Rather, Paul was a revolutionary at heart, who believed that justice on this earth for all people and all creation is the fullest expression of God's love. The passage we just read by Paul, which speaks about love, is a passage that is understandably and appropriately often read at weddings. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful, arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own ways. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. These are beautiful words, and it is easy to see how they might provide a strong foundation for two people committing their lives together. Yet we shortchange the power of these words about love if we limit them to our individual one-to-one relationships. Paul knows that none of us lives in isolation. A relationship is strengthened not just by the will and commitment of two people, but also by the health, vitality, and justice-filled love at work in our communities, our social order, our care for all of creation. At its core, the love Paul speaks about is a relational expansive love. Love that is always pushing the boundaries of inclusion, so that there is no person or no part of creation that is walled off or excluded from this love. Kristen and Michael's companions, all creatures, great Chelsea and Vincent, are in many ways it is their shared commitment to justice, all creation-centered love that bring Michael and Kristen to this place where they commit their love to one another. Their relationship began to blossom at the Occupy movement here in Minnesota, as they joined in efforts to make Minnesota a more equitable and just state for all people. It is Kristen's and Michael's commitment to justice as a full expression of love for all people and all creation that makes racial justice and LGBTQ justice and inclusion an important part of their shared life together. The Apostle Paul proclaims, "If I speak in the tongue of mortals and of angels, but do not have love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal." This is poetic language intended to open our hearts and spirits to the fullness and the potential of love lived out. People rarely think of Paul as a poet, as an artist, but that is precisely what Paul is, because love is never linear or fixed or given to neat and tidy formulas. Love is creative. Love is art. Building a just world is an artistic endeavor, which is why no one person, no one political party, no one movement has all the answers. Whether it be love lived out in creating a just world or love lived out in the commitment of two people make to each other, true love is art. All who know Kristen and Michael know that art and support of the arts is another expression of the love they share together and which they have made a part of this special day. Love is by necessity creative. Creation itself, with all its beauty, glory, and wonder, is the gift of the great artist, whom all that exists becomes the expression of sacred love. There is no question that as human beings we continue falling short of the power and the potential of this justice-filled, creation-embracing love about which Paul speaks. We continue struggling to make this a just world for all people of every race and ethnicity, of every sexual or gender orientation. The struggle continues with care for the earth. We get angry and upset at times and say hurtful things to those we care about most. Yet in spite of all these human shortcomings, we are reminded today that love is greater than any disappointment or failings we might ever encounter. As Paul says, love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. This is the promise we claim today for Michael and Kristen, their faithful companions, and all of us who share in this wonderful celebration of their love. Amen. Now, Michael and Kristen, we come to that special point in this sacred service when you shall exchange your wedding vows. Michael, please repeat after me. I, Michael.
I, Michael.
Take you, Kristen, to be my wife.
Take you, Kristen, to be my wife.
And I promise to love and sustain you.
I promise to love and sustain you.
In the bonds of marriage.
In the bonds of marriage.
From this day forward.
From this day forward.
In sickness and in health.
Sickness and
in plenty and in want.
In plenty and in want.
In joy and in sorrow.
Especially sorrow.
As long as we both shall live.
As long as we both shall live.
And Kristen, repeat after me. I, Kristen.
I, Kristen.
Take you, Michael, to be my husband.
Take you, Michael, to be my husband.
And I promise to love and sustain you.
And I promise to love and sustain you.
In the bonds of marriage.
In the bonds of marriage.
From this day forward.
From this day forward.
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
in plenty and in want,
in plenty and in want,
in joy and in sorrow,
in joy and in sorrow,
as long as we both shall live.
as long as we both shall live.
Michael?
Oh, we may need to quick. I just thought of something. Switch our own rings to the other hand. real quick.
These change? Getting rid of old ones?
I just switch the engagement one so that
okay,
you know.
switching. All right.
That just occurred to me.
Okay, so you just slide this on her hand. And repeat after me, Michael. With this ring, I seal our covenant
With this ring I seal our covenant
and pledge my faithfulness to you.
and pledge my faithfulness.
And you do the same. With this ring, I seal our covenant
With this ring, I seal our covenant
and pledge my faithfulness to you.
and pledge my faithfulness to you.
So this is just something that we're not going to read it now, but just to share with all of you. I invited them to share with each other letters of love that they're putting in this box behind me that will be kept until a year from now, and then they will read them to each other. One for Kristen, one for Michael. Michael and Kristen, since you have promised your love to each other, and before God and these witnesses have exchanged your vows and symbols of your unending love, as a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ, I pronounce you husband and wife. Become one, fulfill your promises to love each other. May the deep bond of your love continue overflowing into the wider circle of relationships in which we all share and upon which we all depend. Let us join together in prayer. Spirit of love, together we have witnessed the joy of this day in the marriage of Kristen and Michael. Now we ask that you help us to support them in their lives together. We ask your special blessings upon them. Help them to grow in faithfulness to one another. May they be glad that you help them in their work and know that you are with them in their need. And so may they ever be together and know the good and abundant life you would have us all live. Amen. You may kiss the bride. And a final blessing for Michael and Kristen and all of you who are gathered here today. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your faces and the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, our friends, may God hold you in the hollow of her hand. Amen. Friends and family, I present to you Kristen and Michael. The reception will be at by the river at the picnic tables.
Do you want to walk, Parker, and I'll just hold the flowers?
Doing everything
Here, wait, Sheila.
God for shame. Do not even know your name.
I'll be right back.